Hey everybody, Cake Marshall here again. Well, this is the 9th of these videos. Can you believe it? We're still in this thing and I'm still making these videos. You know, winter is normally a time when you hunker down and you spend a lot of time at home and inside and trying to stay warm. But I think that this winter is going to be even harder and even more time we're going to spend inside our places struggling to stay cozy and warm and keep our spirits up. And so in the spirit of that, I think today we're going to make some comfort food, some food that I like to make when I'm trying to stay warm and I like for a good winter's day. Today we are going to make hot spiced apple cider, always one of my favorites, and we're going to make it from scratch using cider and spices and simmer it for a while. And then we're also going to make chicken pot pie. Of course, you could substitute just vegetables for the chicken if you want to make a vegetarian version and use your choice of vegetarian gravy, but that's what we're going to make. We're going to make hot spiced apple cider and we're going to make chicken pot pie. And yeah, let's just all hunker down for this winter, try to make the best of it. And yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'll see you guys in the kitchen in a few. Alright, the first thing we're going to make is the hot spice cider. And I think hot spice cider is about the best darn thing ever on a winter day. A little bit of hot spice cider, go out on the porch, watch the snow fall, hunker down in your place in some blankets, watch some Netflix. Whatever you want to do is only better with hot spice cider. So as the name implies, it has some spices on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is get those spices together. So I've got a little bowl here. I've got all my spices. The first thing we're going to start out with is a half a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Add that in the bowl here. I am going to add 5 star anise, and I like to use the whole ones instead of the ground star anise, so I've got them right here. I'm going to go ahead and add 5 in our little pile there. 2, 3, 4, one more. We got 5 of those. And we're going to use 7 of these whole cloves. There we go, 7 cloves. And then we're going to put some sticks of cinnamon in there too, which are going to kind of float around and add a little more flavor. But I'm going to wait to put those in. They're not going to go in the spice sack. We're going to put all these loose herbs in a spice sack so that they don't float around later on and are hard to remove. So I'll put these whole cinnamon sticks in later when we do it, but I just wanted you to know that we're going to use 3 cinnamon sticks. I've got them here. The next thing we're going to add is some nutmeg. Now I like to use the nutmeg whole, so we're going to grind this fresh with my little nutmeg grinder here, and we need about a half a teaspoon, and I'm just going to go ahead and half a tablespoon, pardon me, and I'm just going to go ahead and estimate that here. So I'm going to go ahead and grind that in here. It really smells good. You can really smell the nutmeg smoke coming out of that fresh. Nutmeg is a pretty cool thing. Pretty nice, huh? Alright, we've got that in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is take those loose herbs, and I've got an herb bag here. You can use cheesecloths for this or whatever you want, and I'm going to put them all into our little spice bag. Okay, I've got all the spices in the bag. It's tied off. Bang! Full of flavor. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the apple cider. I got to get it simmering first, so let's get that on the pot next. I've got 2 half gallons of this apple cider here that we're going to put in our big pot and get to simmering. Now you want to make sure that you get good quality cider for this, and you want to make sure that it doesn't already have any spices in there and that it doesn't have any added sugar, just straight up apple cider. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pour that in the pot. That's a half gallon. I got another half gallon here. We'll keep that in there. Okay, that's 1 gallon of high quality apple cider. And we're going to throw in our 3 cinnamon sticks that I talked about before and our little spice bag that we made. And we're going to throw that in the pot and we're going to bring it up to a boil. and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer, and it's going to simmer for about an hour. So I will see you guys shortly. Once I got this up to a boil, then we'll turn that down and give it the hour. So stand by. While we're waiting for the cider to get to a boil, I have cut up half of a lemon and half of an orange into thin slices here, and we're going to add them to the mixture once it's at a good boil. This will add a nice kind of citrus snap to it. It's going to be delicious. Yum. I've got about a pound of chicken in the frying pan here, and we're going to cook that up and then cut it into cubes. I've got it cooking. I'm going to add a little bit of spices. I like a little salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. I've got it pre-mixed here. So I'm going to just sprinkle that lightly on the chicken. I will brown it on one side, and then I will flip it over, and then I will pull it off and cut it into cubes for our pot pie. It's going to be delicious. I'll see you guys in a few. I've got the chicken all cubed up, and that's set aside. Now we're going to start making the filling for the pot pie. So I've got 1/3 cup of butter melted up here and warm on the pan, and I'm going to add 1/2 cup of onions to that, and we're just going to kind of let those onions saute until they've been softened up. Just a little bit of softened up. I'm not trying to totally render them or brown them, just softened up. That just took a few minutes, and now they're good and soft. I think now I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt to that mix, and a 1/2 cup of flour. And we're just going to stir that together till they're all mixed up real good. Okay, we've got that mixed in. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/2 cup of milk to that. Bang! And then I want 1 3/4 cups of chicken broth. Once I got those liquid ingredients mixed in, I'm going to stir it up real good. You want to make sure not to get any chunks in here with that flour mixture. We're trying to make some good gravy, and then we're just going to let this simmer. Okay, I want to keep stirring that, and as I keep stirring, it's going to thicken up. It's going to start to get kind of bubbly and thick as we go here. So let's keep an eye on it as it thickens up and make sure we don't let any chunks or globs get in it. Okay, it's good and thick now. We're just going to go ahead and turn that off and just let it sit and go on with the rest of our ingredients here. We'll just leave this on the stovetop. Man, it's looking good. And by the way, this spiced cider is smelling fantastic. It smells really good in my whole apartment here. And that's one of the advantages of letting this simmer for a while, is you really get that kind of odor coming out of there that just says winter. I'll see you guys in a few. Okay, now is when all the magic is going to come together. We've got our ingredients. We've got our sauce. We've got our grilled chicken. I've got everything else together here. I've got a glass pie pan that I have put a little bit of olive oil in there to keep it from sticking. I got a pie crust in there. We're going to go ahead and start filling this chicken pot pie. First thing we're going to add, of course, is the chicken. And we've got it all cubed up here. It's going to be delicious. I spread that around evenly in the bottom of the pie pan here. Then we're going to add some mixed vegetables. And of course I'm using fresh frozen ones here, but you can use whatever you want. If you want to steam them and then cut them into cubes, go ahead. But really this is the same thing here. It's just been frozen before, so we'll go ahead and add that. We want 2 cups of the veggies in there. That's 1. And 2 cups of frozen mixed vegetables. I'm going to just take my fork and help commingle that chicken with the vegetables here, just giving it a little stir around so that they're evenly distributed with the chicken in the pie pan. And then we're going to go ahead and take that delicious gravy that we made on the stove, and we're just going to let that pour right in there and soak in. Make sure to get it all. It's delicious. We don't want to leave any in the pan. All right, again, we want to commingle that and make sure that that's all good and mixed in there. I'm just going to give it a few stirs, bringing some of the chicken up to the top. Make sure it's stirred in there good and evenly. We don't want any dry spots in this pie. I've got it all mixed together now, and we're going to go ahead and put another pie crust on the top of this. I'm using these pre-made pie crusts, and you probably noticed that I use them in most of my recipes. I mean, you could go ahead and make pie crust on your own, obviously, if you're good at it, but I don't think anybody's ever going to have one of these pies or this chicken pot pie and say, boy, that was delicious, but how come I could taste the pre-made pie crust? No way. Pie crust is basically the same whether you make it yourself or you get it out of the box. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that easy step here, and I'm going to put it on top. Now, remember, you want to seal it in there, kind of crush the edges down into the other pie crust that's already down in there, so you get a nice tight seal. Oven is ready. You just heard it buzz. It's heated up to 425 and ready for the pie. Okay, I got the pie crust all on here. I've pressed down that ring to keep any liquids that may come out through the vent holes in there. And we're going to go ahead and put this in the 425 degree oven for about half hour, 40 minutes. Then I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to wrap a little foil around the edge so that we don't burn the edges here. So it's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and slip it in the oven. We'll see you guys in about half hour or 40 minutes when I pull it out and put that foil around the edge. All right, I baked the chicken pot pie at about 35 minutes at 425. Then I took it out. I put tin foil around the edges so that it wouldn't get overcooked. I gave it another 10 minutes for a total of 45 minutes, and it's perfect. It's looking really good here. It smells delicious. My apartment smells like chicken pot pie and spiced apple cider. I mean, come on. It really doesn't get any better than that. It's perfect. And yeah, let's try out the spiced cider. Yum, it's spicy. It's delicious. It tastes like Christmas, man. And yeah, the only thing I did to finish that off is I strained it out. I pulled out the spice bag. I pulled out the oranges and the lemons, and I jarred it up. I got one jar in my fridge, and I've got one jar to give away to friends. And yeah, that's really important. Whenever you're making food, if you can make some extra, maybe some folks can't get out as much as we can, and bring over some food for the holidays. Other than that, we're just going to hunker down. I have a feeling we're on the downhill curve of this. We're going to get through winter. We're going to do our best to just stay cozy, stay in our little homes here, try to get through winter, and we're going to be back once again. Soon enough, we'll be back in the office. I'll load the Zocalo with cakes and pies for cake day. It'll be like a real cake day. But in the meantime, the Cake Marshal is going to keep the videos coming, and I hope you guys have a great holidays. I'll see you in 2021 with the first cake day of 2021 and in another video. Oh yeah, stay warm and cozy, my friends. I'll see you all soon.